do you think the Jake Paul-Anthony Joshua fight plays out?
I don't know. I want to make sure. I believe it once I see him in the ring.
If Paul starts his boxing career earlier, could Jake Paul have been a champion?
Boxing fans have been spiraling after explosive claims surfaced around Jake Paul's biggest fights. Anthony Joshua has broken his silence, and Mike Tyson has addressed the whispers. And Joe Rogan's reaction says it all. Were massive offers made behind closed doors, or is the internet running ahead of the truth? In this video, we will find out what's going on and behind the viral speculation. After the bell, what everyone is saying about Joshua versus Jake Paul. The fight ended, but the noise didn't. Within minutes, timelines filled up. Not with celebration, not even outrage, with reassessment. People weren't arguing about the knockout itself. They were asking a quieter question. Was this ever a fight to begin with? On boxing forums, the language shifted fast. Words like mismatch and inevitability replaced pre-fight optimism. Some fans admitted they'd convinced themselves Jake Paul had closed the gap. Others argued they'd seen the warning signs weeks ago. The debate wasn't loud. It was uneasy.
We're just a few minutes removed from the fight. How's the jaw feeling right now?
It's busted, man. Doc says it's in 2 pieces. Feels like I'm holding a brick in my mouth, but I'm here.
In that 4th round, the overhand right from Anthony that landed, what did you see?
Don't say his name. I want my mommy.
Anthony Joshua hits you with probably his hardest shot. You dropped and said, wow. I was like, wow, that was nice.
Did he surprise you with his power?
No, but I mean, he surprised my jaw.
Talk to me about what your jaw feels like.
It's like a baseball in there. 4 titanium plates. How many do you have?
Just one.
Analysts focused less on punches and more on posture. Joshua's composure, his patience, the way he didn't rush, didn't hunt, didn't need to prove anything. He looked like someone who had already solved the problem. That, more than the finish, unsettled people. Jake Paul's supporters pointed to courage, to ambition, to the fact that he stepped into a space few influencers ever would. Critics weren't impressed. They said bravery isn't the same as readiness. And readiness, at this level, shows up long before the first bell. Social media split into familiar camps. One side claimed the experiment had gone too far, that this was the moment the influencer era hit a wall it couldn't algorithm its way around. The other side insisted this was still progress, that losing to Anthony Joshua doesn't erase years of improvement. But even those defenses sounded thinner than before. What kept resurfacing was a single idea: belief. Jake Paul believed he belonged. For a time, enough people believed with him. But belief doesn't erase history. Joshua's resume was never theoretical. It was built under pressure, loss, correction, and return. That difference lingered in the ring. Some fans rewatched the walkouts. Others replayed the early rounds. Not searching for controversy, but for clues. Moments where the gap revealed itself before the finish made it undeniable. By the end of the night, the conversation wasn't about humiliation or hype. It was about boundaries, about what can be manufactured and what has to be earned, and whether this outcome shocked people or simply confirmed something they'd been trying not to admit all along. Joe Rogan breaks it down: danger, power, and no illusions. Joe Rogan didn't sound surprised. When he addressed the fight, his tone wasn't celebratory or dismissive. It was measured, almost resigned, as if the outcome fit a pattern he'd been watching form long before the matchup was announced. Rogan focused on one thing first: danger. Not spectacle, not hype. Real danger. The kind that doesn't trend until it's too late. He pointed out that Anthony Joshua's power isn't just about force. It's about timing, balance, and years of calibrated violence against elite opposition. Power that doesn't announce itself. It waits.
What do you think about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua?
Boy. Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division.
That distinction mattered. Rogan has spent decades around fighters at every level. He's seen confidence grow too fast. He's seen belief outpace preparation. And in crossover boxing, he's been consistently skeptical, not hostile, but cautious. His reaction to the Joshua fight fit that history. He didn't mock Jake Paul. He didn't deny his progress. But he made something clear. Progress has ceilings. And some ceilings don't bend just because the lights are brighter or the paycheck is bigger.
He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the Tommy.
He lost a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight, though. He's a good boxer. If he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
But
and then he started too with like more spectacle-ish fights. People were like, "Oh, this is you." He fought, Nate Robinson, like a basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson
He knocked him the fuck out.
And
yeah.
it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like, no, that was skillful. So like, there's like boxing matches where you see two guys just slugging it out. One guy lands a punch, and he landed a good punch. What Jake did is he slid back and landed a punch.
Yeah.
It's like the athleticism along with the intelligence, the technique. I'm like, he's not even doing it that long. And he's also hyper competitive, even though he's wealthy.
Yeah.
Like you would assume that wealth would take away your drive for
But
competition.
It hasn't,
He's also nuts, right? Just
Yeah.
the fact that he's willing to fight the two-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy, and he avoided shots till the 6th round. He just started getting tired.
What caught people's attention wasn't what Rogan said about the knockout. It was what he said about the lead-up. He talked about how stepping in with a heavyweight like Joshua changes the equation entirely. One clean connection doesn't test your chin. It tests your future. Online, his comments traveled fast. Supporters of the fight argued Rogan was being overly conservative. That boxing evolves. That outsiders can break rules insiders take for granted. Critics seized on his words as confirmation, proof that this matchup was always playing with stakes that couldn't be controlled. Rogan's credibility amplified everything. This wasn't a former champion protecting a gate. This was someone who has called real fights, trained with real fighters, and watched real consequences unfold. When he speaks about risk, people listen differently. Still, his reaction didn't shut down speculation entirely. For some, it fueled it. If the danger was so obvious, they asked, why did the fight happen at all? Rogan didn't answer that directly. He didn't need to. His analysis wasn't about conspiracy or intent. It was about inevitability, about what happens when belief meets experience, and experience doesn't blink. To him, there were no illusions, just a collision that had been waiting for the right moment to happen. Rumors versus reality. Did Jake Paul try to pay off Joshua? The rumors didn't start in locker rooms. They started online. Within hours of the fight, posts began circulating, claims that the outcome had been bought, that money had changed hands, that the result was agreed on long before the bell rang. Screenshots, threads, anonymous certainty, none of it sourced, all of it confident. The core claim was simple. Jake Paul paid for safety, or control, or an ending that wouldn't go too far. But when you trace those claims back, they don't lead anywhere solid. No documents, no verified statements, no reporting from credible outlets, just repetition. And repetition, online, often masquerades as proof. Promoters moved quickly to shut it down. They stated plainly that any attempt to script or fix a sanctioned professional boxing match would be illegal. Not controversial. Illegal. Athletic commissions oversee contracts, officials, judging, and outcomes. The idea that a heavyweight bout involving Anthony Joshua could be quietly manipulated doesn't survive contact with how the sport actually functions. There is no evidence, none, that Jake Paul paid, bribed, or attempted to influence Joshua or the outcome of the fight. Still, the rumors persisted. And to understand why, you have to look backward. The doubts didn't begin with Joshua. They were inherited from the Mike Tyson fight.
I remember when he fought Buster Douglas the first time. It was a long count.
Don King did that bullshit. Don King set me up. I never said that before, but it made sense. You know what I mean? The 42-1, I can win this. Him and the referee talks that bullshit because, I don't want to tell you what we done before.
He was out.
It was fights, I'm not going to mention no promote. There was fights I had with an opponent that knows he'd fight me and the referee. You know? It was fights like that. That's just how it went. You know, people are bent, odd. They got a hold of the referee. They're fighting me and the referee. God, I don't know. The guy I don't even know. Did I find out later what's going on?
That bout left people unsettled. The age gap, the pacing, the expectations versus the reality. Many fans expected chaos. What they got felt restrained. To some, that restraint looked suspicious. Claims of a script spread rapidly, fueled by leaked documents that were later shown to be false and by assumptions rather than facts. Regulators, promoters, and analysts rejected those claims. The fight was sanctioned. Officials were present. No evidence of manipulation was found. But doubt doesn't need evidence to survive. It only needs discomfort. That discomfort carried forward. So when Joshua dismantled Paul with control instead of spectacle, the internet reached for the same explanation. Not that the skill gap was real, but that the outcome must have been arranged. That's the pattern. When belief collapses suddenly, people look for hidden hands instead of missed signs. Rumors fill the space where expectations break down. Inside the boxing world, what fighters, promoters, and analysts are really saying. Within hours of the fight, industry voices began weighing in. Their perspective was measured, deliberate, and detached from online frenzy. Several seasoned fighters noted that Jake Paul's presence in high-profile bouts reflects ambition more than readiness. He is a calculated risk, an anomaly. The Joshua fight, they said, confirmed boundaries. Elite boxing is not only about belief or confidence, it is about experience, timing, and the quiet accumulation of lessons under pressure. Paul has ambition, but ambition alone does not grant legitimacy.
Jake Paul, Joshua. Oh, Jesus. That's a fucking bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what, a lot of people watch that one.
What'd you think about that AJ fight?
Well, we all knew what was gonna happen.
I thought Jake was gonna win, bro.
Huh?
I did. Dude, Jake won the first 2 rounds.
Oh,
you
man.
did.
Come on.
Promoters emphasize the financial reality. These fights generate tens of millions, sometimes hundreds, from pay-per-view, sponsorships, and international broadcasting. Joshua versus Paul was a payday the sport rarely sees outside championship cycles. Analysts remarked that the economics are shaping matchmaking as much as skill. Every fight, they implied, is both competition and spectacle. Trainers spoke of evolution and learning curves. They described Paul's performance not in terms of victory or failure, but in adaptability. How quickly he recognized danger, adjusted his stance, and managed exchanges. That is valuable experience. Yet, it also exposed what seasoned professionals have long understood. Certain gaps cannot be closed in months, no matter the hype. Finally, industry commentators considered the fight's long-term impact. For Paul, the loss was not terminal. It clarified where he stands, who he can safely challenge, and how promoters might structure future bouts to maintain intrigue without endangering credibility. The Joshua fight recalibrated expectations. It distinguished between viral fame and elite competency without negating the audience's fascination. Across every voice, one theme emerged: perspective. The conversation was not about mockery or spectacle. It was about context, about lessons that unfold quietly behind the cameras, and about the stark difference between belief and earned mastery. In the boxing world, narratives are rarely dictated by the internet. They are dictated by observation, experience, and the relentless scrutiny of those who live inside the ropes. And in that environment, the Joshua versus Paul fight will be remembered less for shock and more for the clarity it revealed. Before it's too late, consider this. Will the boundaries of boxing evolve around influencers like Jake Paul, or will tradition reclaim its ground? The choice rests with fans, fighters, and promoters alike, while we still can. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.